I'm live, and I'm a couple minutes early, but I've got a lot to do this morning, and so I wanted to go ahead and knock this out before I have to run. I'm in the southern. Oh, there's a fox. Oh, I wonder if you can see that. I just noticed a fox down there. See the fox running through the grass? Right down there. He's playing, running around. Fox! He stopped. He's looking at me. There he goes. See, he's running around. See him? Doing, 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 doing. He's running over there. So obviously, incredibly beautiful place here. It looks like Switzerland. I'm in southern Armenia in a town called Tatev. And there's a monastery, an ancient monastery, 10th century, right down there. Right down there. Beautiful, beautiful walk this morning. Out here just getting a little exercise before we have to go. And I wanted to talk about two things. First of all, this massive barrage of rockets that came from Hezbollah yesterday in Lebanon. 215 rockets and on top of that, some drones and a few missiles. And they were fired at Israel in response to the targeted killing of a guy named Talib Muhammad, or Muhammad Talib, something like that. The most senior commander of Hezbollah that they have killed yet during this war. And it really stirred up a hornet's nest. Hezbollah was really upset about that. And so they fired all these rockets. And at the funeral of this commander yesterday, somebody giving a eulogy said that basically Israel ain't seen nothing yet, and that they are planning even more attacks, bigger, more intense attacks on Israel. And this is just going to push Israel into having to go to war in Lebanon. The thing is, neither side really wants that, believe it or not. Obviously, Israel doesn't want to have to go to war in Lebanon. I mean, that's a foregone conclusion. But Hezbollah doesn't either, because they, number one, it'd be very costly for them in men and materiel. Number two, they would lose power in the political realm in Lebanon, because they're trying to be a political party and not just a military, group now. So this war against Israel is not popular with the people in Lebanon, for the most part, especially in the south, the people who are hurting from the constant attacks and responses from Israel. So it's not good for anybody. And the thing is, Hezbollah, when Israel kills one of their commanders like that, Hezbollah loses face. And their pride is such that they can't back down. They have to go hard against Israel. And then Israel obviously has to protect its citizens, and they can't back down either. I mean, listen, if Israel stopped shooting back at Hezbollah, Hezbollah would just continue to shoot at Israel and continue to try to kill Israelis. But if Hezbollah were to stop shooting at Israel, it would be over. So that should tell you everything you need to know about who's in the right here. And Israel, for its part, overnight dropped bombs on a bunch of sites inside Lebanon, destroyed some of the launchers that launched these attacks on Israel yesterday. And that commander that they killed was in charge of the attack against Israel on Shavuot, which was just the day before. And so he had it coming, obviously. But look, Israel is going to have to do something, but one of the big reasons Israel hasn't done something yet as far as going into Lebanon with troops on the ground is because they need to prepare. They have a bunch of troops up on the northern border, but not near enough to do an invasion. They, of course, Hezbollah's plan, if something like this were to happen, if Israel goes into Lebanon, is to fire so many rockets and missiles and drones at Israel that it will overwhelm their ability to shoot down those drones and missiles and rockets, and will result in a lot of civilian casualties in Israel, a lot of property destruction and things like that. The surprising thing out of this most intense rocket barrage since the war began from Hezbollah is that nobody was killed or injured. A few fires were started. They had to bring out 19 fire crews and 7 aircraft to fight the fires that these things started. But there was very little in the way of damage to structures or anything like that. So Israel has the capability to handle that many rockets, but Hezbollah could easily do 10 times that many. Hezbollah could shoot, 2,500 rockets, and Israel does not have the capacity to shoot down all of those. So if we get to the point where it's seriously go time between Israel and Hezbollah, I would expect to see the skies absolutely filled with rockets and missiles, and Israel struggling to shoot them all down. Of course, every time Israel has to shoot down one of those rockets, missiles, or drones, it costs them at least $50,000. And some of those drones probably cost less than $5,000. So there's a pretty big incentive for Israel to figure out a way to put a stop to this without having to resort to military inside Lebanon. I don't like to make predictions because, as I've always said, when you make predictions in a war, there are always 1,000 things that could happen tomorrow. Yes, I knew I could vote for president using the federal voting, blah, blah, blah. The thing is, they don't count absentee ballots until all of the other votes have been counted, and they only count the absentee ballots if it's like a literal tie. So most people don't know that, but the absentee ballots basically just get thrown out because there's never an actual tie. So, yeah, I can vote absentee, but it's very unlikely it's going to make much of a difference. Anyway, Israel and Hezbollah, like I say, there could be 1,000 different things that could happen at any moment that could change the calculus 100%. There could be an incursion, a large incursion of men into northern Israel, like an October 7th type thing. There could be nuclear, biological, chemical war somehow. I mean, who knows? There's so many things that could happen. So I don't like to make predictions, but I just get the sense that eventually they're going to have to find a diplomatic solution to this and just leave each other alone. Israel cannot stand having, I don't know, it's like 300 square miles of their territory not usable by their people. 100,000 people out of their homes and their businesses and their schools. They can't keep that up. Hezbollah, for its part, like I say, doesn't want to lose its political standing in Lebanon, and they are doing so even now. So they very likely, I think, will eventually come to some sort of diplomatic solution. The United States would obviously push very hard for that. But this brings us to what Yahya Sinwar had to say in an interview, or in some of the communications that were intercepted by Israel. He basically has been had been making statements to his commanders and stuff like, "Don't worry about the civilian deaths. That they're good for us. We need civilian deaths, our movement runs on the blood of civilians, and so the more civilian deaths, the better. That's a pretty cynical and downright evil, thing to say, without a doubt. But that's Sinwar's mindset, is that not only do we not mind if there are civilian deaths, we want civilian deaths to happen. They have to happen. We've been saying this for some time, but he actually said it. And the other thing he said is, right now, he believes that they are winning because he understands that the information battle space is the #1 battle space. It's the most important. So they may be getting their clocks cleaned on the ground and losing territory, losing tunnels, losing hostages, losing fighters. But as far as Sinwar is concerned, that doesn't really matter. The kinetic battle space isn't near as important as the information battle space. And in the information battle space, Israel is losing. So, yeah, this is a Sound of Music background, is it not? It's unbelievable out here, just gorgeous. This shows that Sinwar is he's not only cynical and evil, but he's smart. Because now, and I'm going to caveat that, because I'm going to say that Israel could afford to alienate the entire world right now, to have the entire world angry with it, which is pretty much where we are. They could afford to do this for a period of time. I'm in Armenia right now, and long enough for them to go absolutely ham on on Hamas, on all the terrorists in the West Bank, on Hezbollah, and do what they have to do to absolutely murder these guys, right? And get the job done. And the longer it takes, the worse it is for the political or the information battle space, right? The longer it is, the worse it is for Israel. So they might as well just pull out all the stops, go 100%, take the opprobrium of the global community for a month or two, and get the job finished. And they should have done that to begin with. They should have absolutely mobilized the entire country and gone whole hog, not only against, they should have just devastated not only Gaza, but Judea and Samaria, the A zones there, and everything that they could hit inside Lebanon. They should have just gone absolutely ape on them, get the job accomplished, and get it over with. Because here's what happens: the whole world might hate them right now politically. They're seeing the suffering in Gaza, blah blah blah, all this kind of thing, which is being dramatically exaggerated. There's no famine in Gaza. There's plenty of aid going in there. And as we saw with the hostage rescue last week, the civilians are not civilians. These people are aiding and abetting Hamas. They're holding hostages themselves. And so they're not civilians. They are combatants. And so, yeah, let the media pretend that Israel is in the wrong here. Let the media scream and holler and wail and gnash their teeth and pull their hair out and run around in circles because Israel is such a bunch of meanies. But get the job done and then start to rebuild. Start to rebuild that. Because the one thing about the news cycle, the one thing about the media battle space, about the information battle space, is that they can recover from that faster than Hezbollah or Hamas can recover their power inside Gaza. Now, Sinwar sees this as the only possible way that he and his organization of Hamas can survive. Okay, that's the only way, is by ramping up the civilian casualties, ramping up the civilian suffering, You understand 100% of the civilian suffering, of the death and destruction that has happened inside Gaza is at the feet of Yahya Sinwar. All of the blood of all of the civilians that have died in this war on both sides is on his hands. And so Israel must do what it has to do. Look, this is not about, they want to take land in Gaza. They gave Gaza to the Gazans. They gave it to the Palestinians. As it turns out, that might not have been such a great idea. But, and maybe they shouldn't do that again. This is the big conversation now. But they can recover from losing in the media battle space. And the faster they prosecute this war, the better it will be for Israel and for everybody. And this is the final point I want to make. Israel has a moral duty to its own people to make them safe from this kind of attack. But it is also a moral good for Israel to destroy Hamas. And it is a moral good for Israel to destroy Hezbollah. It is a positive thing for the people in Gaza for Israel to do what it's doing. Now, is it expensive for the Gazans? Yes, because they're going to have to, rebuild their society from the ground up. But it was rotten from the ground up, and so it needed to be torn down and rebuilt. And Israel should not apologize for the destruction and the suffering that is happening inside Gaza, because number one, it's not their fault. Number two, what they are doing is going to, in the long run, be a net plus for the Palestinians. If they should do the most loving thing possible, if the people in Gaza are being ruled by a dictatorial terrorist regime, then the most loving thing that Israel can do is to destroy that regime, no matter the cost to the Palestinians. And if the Palestinians are still supporting that regime, then they are not innocent civilians. They are themselves combatants who need to be destroyed. Point, period, end of story. That's what I got. Okay? So let's look and see if we got any questions here that I can answer real quick, because I got to get going. How are you studying the Gaza command structure? RT Yahya Sinwar. I'm not sure what that question means. I'm sorry. Let's see. Yeah, please click the like button, folks. Almost 1,000 people online, 300 likes. It really does help if you go hit that like button. Do you think Netanyahu will move faster now that Gantz left? I think yes, because now what Gantz did is he removed himself from the equation, and I almost wonder if he did this as a favor. I don't know. I'm 54 years old. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that Gantz is an evil person. I know a lot of people don't like him politically. Amir Tsarfati doesn't like him a whole lot. But with him gone, then the pressure that's on Netanyahu is coming more from the right to prosecute this war, to finish it, and to go hard against the enemies. So it may end up being a good thing. What about CENTCOM visiting Israel for the North? Well, they certainly talked about the North. They said that they did. The CENTCOM commander, General Kurilla, who is he's a legit warrior. I have to take umbrage with his kissing the woke ring in order to stay in the military, because a truly courageous general would have resigned rather than push the jabs and the transgenderism and all that crap. But he fought very bravely in Iraq, was wounded, and he's a warrior. Anyway, he was in Israel talking with the commanders of the IDF, and they talked about what to do in the north. If look, let me just say this. It's unlikely that the United States would allow Israel to lose in the north. So if Israel goes into Lebanon, if they go into southern Lebanon, it's very likely that the United States would get involved to help defend Israel from the massive barrage of rockets and stuff that would follow. And so I don't know what form that would take. It would likely be mostly from the air, because the United States, number one, in this time, because it's election season, the Biden administration is not going to send troops into anything. The American people don't have the stomach for that in the electorate. But they would probably have a lot of aircraft that would be flying sorties and dropping bombs on people in Lebanon and Hezbollah there. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for standing with the truth. Love from Israel. Thank you. I'll be back in Israel before you know it. Listening to protests in USA, they scream and there is no discussion. So I don't see any immediate changes in opinions. Oh, that's a comment, not a question. Okay. What do you feel is going to happen in the U.S. during all of this chaos that's going on in the world? Well, you can see what's happening in the U.S. It's becoming more and more unhinged with all of these protests and everything. And like I've said over and over again, you need to prepare right now for the eventuality that Donald Trump gets reelected. I hope he does personally, but if Donald Trump gets reelected, there will be violence across the United States, and you need to be prepared for it. So we can do a whole podcast, a whole discussion with Tim Miller, perhaps, about how to prepare for that. But you need to be prepared for violence if Trump manages to somehow win the election in the face of all of the election interference and fraud that's taking place in the United States. But there will be massive violence across the United States the moment it is announced that he wins. I promise. Okay? The war in Israel will be forgotten. It will be nothing if Donald Trump gets reelected. My understanding, when someone votes using the federal voting assistance program from overseas, that is considered an absentee ballot, and it will not get counted until or unless they don't get a result from the regular votes. All right. So please go hit that like button. If you like my reporting, please go to chuckholton.com and subscribe over there. I really appreciate all of your comments. If you want to come visit Armenia, look at this. If you want to come see this for yourself, we've got a trip going in September, and we could probably squeeze you in, although we're getting pretty tight there, and we'll be doing another trip next June, so you can start planning ahead and saving your shekels if you want to come to Armenia with us. So that's all I've got, folks. I'm going to have to get down to the bus because since I'm running this tour, I probably should not get left when the bus leaves because we got more awesome stuff to see today. But I'm just going to turn the camera around and let you see what I'm seeing here let's see here. There we go. I'm going to let you see that just one more time. Unbelievable. It's about 70 degrees out here this morning. Absolutely perfect weather. The monastery at Tatev is right down, over there. Right down there. You can just see the top of it right there. But yeah, this is like Sound of Music. There's a 2,000-foot gorge over there that we take like a skyway, whatever you call those things, cable car, and fly over, called the Wings of Tatev. Absolutely gorgeous. I will be headed back to Israel before too long. So again, if you have any comments or questions, just send them to me at hotzoneholton@gmail.com. And if you're a crazy psychopath, just know that if you send me 50 messages about microwaves frying your brain, and fake policemen coming to your house. And what else did I get today? All kinds of weird stuff. I don't read those. I delete them immediately and then block your email address. So if you're crazy, quit sending me emails. Just joking. I mean, not joking. All right. I'm going to run. God bless you all. We'll see you later. Bye-bye. How do I?